Hello, welcome to a new lesson. We're going to learn today about how to set up an Excel spreadsheet to help us calculate the payments of something like a loan or a credit card or a mortgage. Unfortunately, there's no explicit formula that can help us do this when we're actually making monthly payments. If we don't have the monthly payments, we're assuming we're not paying any debt, then there's an explicit formula, but that's not very realistic. So, here we go. Let's go ahead and start off by declaring some of the variables in the problem. So we'll call this first cell principal. We'll leave space for it to put in the principal. We'll also need the APR. We'll also need to know how often it's compounded. And we need to know how much we're making as far as our payment. So we'll put in a payment square. And then, since those are now labeled, I'm going to go ahead and call the cells next to them by those names. I like to avoid using capital letters so that when I have to type them in a second, none of those numbers are, I don't mistype anything and have Excel, think there's two different variables there. Now look, there I typed in APR instead of renaming the cell APR. That's not what you want to do. I'm going to rename this one compounded. That's for how often it's compounded, monthly, annually, weekly, what have you. Okay, so now that we've got the information here, I'm going to create a couple headings for a couple columns. First is going to be the month, just so we can keep track of what month we're in. The next is going to be our balance on our loan or credit card. And the third is going to be the amount of money we've paid. I'm going to call it paid so far. That's just kind of interesting to see how much money you actually pay by the time you're done paying off your credit card balance. Always go ahead and start with 0 for the month, because that's where we're going to put our initial balance before any time has even transpired. Now that I've got those highlighted, I'm going to go ahead and drag that pattern way down. Just give ourselves plenty of room so that we won't have to worry about that later. Okay, so our balance for month 0. This is where we're going to make this equal to whatever our principal is. So I'm going to type in principal. Now it says name because I mistyped it. So if you get that error, that means you've mistyped in your letters. So now we see it says 0 because there's nothing entered into principal. I'm going to go ahead and call this $10,000. We'll assume maybe this is a student loan or a big credit card balance. Alright, now let's go ahead and assume our APR is 9.99%. I'm going to go ahead and enter that as the decimal equivalent, so 0.0999. Compounded, let's go with monthly for this example. So monthly means that there's 12 compounds per year, so 12 is our number of times compounded. And then payment, let's go ahead and say that our minimum payment is $100 per month. Okay, so in order to figure out how much money we're going to owe at the end of 1 month, here is the way this will be calculated. First, we're going to take the previous month's total, in this case the initial total, and we're going to multiply that by 1 plus, and we're going to have the 1 in there because we're keeping the initial, but we're adding on to that based off of the APR, but the APR gets divided by the number of times we're compounding it. And then once we've added on the interest, what we're going to do is we're going to subtract our payment. And there we have. After 1 month, our balance is $9,983.25. So as far as the paid so far, in the initial month we paid 0, and each subsequent month we're paying really the number of payments times the number of months. So that'll be 100, and as we keep going down and down and down, this is obviously how much money we've paid. Now, even though we paid $100, it's interesting to note that we haven't lost $100 in our balance. We could even make a new column to show this. Amount paid off of principal. And here we could do basically a simple calculation where we go principal minus whatever our balance is. Okay, so we paid none off the principal here. Here, we've now paid only $16.75 off of the original. That's quite shocking. Even though you paid $100, you've only made $16.75 worth of progress. Kind of disheartening. Shows you why credit cards, loans, debts of this nature are very dangerous. Okay, so I'm just kind of going slowly here to kind of compare the initial values, but we can obviously drag these down at any point we're ready to go. So here we see $9,966. So after 2 months, we've paid a whopping $33.64 worth off of our total. All right, now we're ready to go ahead and drag this down. I'm going to go ahead and drag it way out. See, still not done. I'm looking for the point where the balance is 0, or in fact has gone negative, and then we know we've gone far enough. Somewhere around here. So in month 215 we still have a balance, so we haven't paid it off in 215 months. In the 216th month we've paid it off. We're going to get to what happens right around this time. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of highlight those 2 cells just so I can find them easily in the future. Let's go ahead and carry our other columns out here as well. You can drag 2 columns out if they're kind of even with each other, so I'm going to drag that one out, and now I can drag these both out. And I know I only need to go as far as really that yellow data there. And so here we can see that after 216 months, we've obviously paid $21,600. But how much was our original loan for? Only $10,000. Yet we paid $21,600. Not quite exactly, but we'll get into those details in a second. But clearly already we've seen how dangerous credit card debt and loans can be. Obviously some loans are unavoidable, but alright, so let's look really closely at this last month here. So after month 215 we have paid $21,500. Now in the last month we don't owe $100. We only owe $51.61. So that's the final payment. We're not going to make another $100 payment in the last month. So add this on to our final, and so here is our final total that we end up paying, $21,551.61. Pretty alarming. Now you can go back and see what happens if you change your minimum payment and increase that by a little bit. You should see some drastic effects. So go ahead and play around with those numbers at the top. You should see your data adjust down below because we've set it up that way. Thank you so much. See you next time.